You might say it's been a long time since I test drove the Mitsubishi Eclipse because my last memory was a two-door sports car that, well, fit in with my kind of cool young lifestyle back then. Well, thankfully, it's aged like a fine wine like me. Hey, welcome to Station Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Roberson. Now, specifically behind me is the 2019 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. Now, what I assume is well, that's crossed over into its golden years and, well, has grown up, basically get rid of the two-door cramped lifestyle and gone more with, well, the grocery getter atmosphere. So it only took me about 2 seconds to forget about the past and move to the present and, well, welcome this four-door rendering of the Eclipse because, well, it fits so perfectly into my current lifestyle. After all, with age comes, well, intolerance to two doors because they're just so low and, well, folding and flipping to climb inside. This perfectly aged with me. Now, what I like is the exterior, really stylized for this market, really a lot of blending of maybe some of the competition, but they hold their own quite well. Most notably here at the back end with kind of a creative way to look at the rear hatch. Now, what I do like, body color all the way around, really modest chrome, not too blinged out, really nice lower fascia if you want to take this bad boy off the beaten path. On small sport utility vehicles, one area that can take a back seat is grille warfare, because after all, there's not a lot of acreage up here. You're not trying to compete with the big boys, so you can't do some huge offering. You got to kind of keep it nice and regal or appropriate to the size, and that's exactly what Mitsubishi did well here. Again, it doesn't nose out too much like some of the competition. Many of the competition really doesn't even have a grille. What we have here is a nice multitude of accents. First off, with the nice polished chrome matching the polished black. Really, that sets off the middle tones, really giving it a nice regal look. Coupled nicely with that is the bedazzling of the headlights. Now, this is standard across the industry, but what they do well here is a nice rope effect, gives you that daytime running, but of course, nice stylized headlights that gives you tons of throw. Now, body color is mixed in here, but I like how the chrome really sets off the overall angles and sculpting here at the front end. For any vehicle, I kind of look for the nooks and crannies that really separate it from the competition. For the Eclipse Cross, look no further than the rear hatch. Now, while the competition is somewhat mimicking this kind of chiseled approach from the profile, for the most part, it is pretty much a standard operating procedure when it comes to the hatch design, but not here on the Eclipse. What we see here is kind of a split glass design lower here. Brake light all the way across. It does come to a vertical stack here as well. That's giving you some brake awareness on the outer side as well as, of course, straight back. Also does give you a little bit more vision from the front through the back with this split design as well, versus just this upper panel wouldn't do that at all. Now, what's also helping with that is the backup camera. Now, it's interesting on this small vehicle and a fairly modest price point, there's also 360 surround. Now, there's going to be cameras on the sides as well as up front, and that seemed to be kind of a nice approach. What I didn't notice is backup sensors, but with the overall cameras, really that was a nice step up that you really don't need the sensors at all. Now, don't get me wrong, this rear hatch isn't that far outside the box. There certainly are some hatchbacks and some other vehicles that mimic it, but in this particular market, I'm not seeing a lot of wow factor like we see here. Traditionally, just one glass, boring, move on. Now, what I do like on this size vehicle is, of course, the overall comfort inside, but what's delivered here at the business end, it has to be cargo, because that's the advantage anytime you put utility alongside a vehicle. So it certainly has to deliver. Now, what you're going to see back here isn't too shabby, around about 22 cubic feet. Even better with that second row laid flat, it's going to be more than double, around about 48 cubic feet. Now, it's going to give you tons of room and really ease of operation. So let's dive in a little bit closer to see what the workings are. Now, this vehicle came with Rockford Fosgate sound system. You'll see the subwoofer there on the side, nice and tucked out of the way, but it helps with the overall listening enjoyment. Now, what I do like is tonneau covers and the ability to, well, secure your items by hiding them away. What you will notice is, well, it's not fully up to this area, and that's mainly because of the glass. You really take it any higher, you're not going to be able to see out the back, but this does give you still plenty of room down here. It is kind of a flexible material, so obviously nothing can sit on top. Now, once that's tucked out of the way, it can be removed if you need to put bigger items in here. What I always love to look is see what's under the cargo floor. Now, what you're going to find is a nice simple operation, nice solid material. Some of the competition, even in sedans, are doing something flimsy here. This is just one nice sturdy surface. Now you're going to see a full-size spare. This is a 17, while this vehicle has 18-inch wheels, but definitely a nice size tire. All the operation right around with jacks and all that, but really tucked in here should you need it. Now before we move on, one thing to talk about is the overall height for this rear hatch when it's lifted up. I'm 6'2", and there's plenty of room for me to ease under. Even better with the arch here, really feel nice and comfortable, no head banging to note. Now what I also like is its electronic release, no traditional handle of course, just simply press the button, unlocks with ease. Even better, the operation for the rear windshield wiper, nice and tucked away under this rear spoiler, making everything look nice and sleek. Now even better is the overall space back here is, well, pretty immense for a vehicle that's, well, doesn't truly measure up that big. What I'm referring to is overall about 173 inches, wheelbase about 105. As for height, just under 6 feet tall and just under 5.5 feet wide. Decent numbers that equates to modest legroom, and I'll show you those in just a second. But the one big number I truly liked was the ground clearance, around about 8 inches. That truly made this vehicle feel that utilitarian side of things, giving me a little bit more lift than a traditional sedan. One thing you don't expect is a powerhouse under the hood, but maybe a turbo wouldn't hurt, and thankfully that's what this vehicle offered on a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. Now it delivers around about 152 horses and 184 foot-pounds of torque. Now it certainly didn't really give you a lot of neck snapping fun, but had just enough pep in the step to make it a little bit sporty around the curves. Now even better, it is equipped to an 8-speed CVT with sport mode, which takes it again to a little bit more aggressive and, well, fun stance should you want to go there. Now this vehicle is around the low 30s as you see it here, and what I like about that is, well, it came with a lot of extras I didn't expect. One of them being kind of the grip at the corners in that super all-wheel control, as well as some regal approaches there on the inside, I'll show you in a second. But it all starts with ingress. Now what I like is kind of on the fancy cars or even the premium luxury ones, one kind of point is this right here. Now it seems kind of moot, it's not that big a deal. The mirrors tuck in. One thing I do like is that's kind of a visual effect that lets you know the vehicle's locked for one, and also minimizes the overall scrapes and dings, especially in the urban settings where, well, sometimes you got to parallel park on the busy street. Now to get inside, it's the good old standard procedure. Really go right here, smart key in your pocket, press the button one time here on the passenger side, everything opens up with ease. Now on the driver's side for security, it is a 2-step approach. Press it once, then press it again to release all the rest. Now I've always argued that if you're going to put the access point at one door, why not do it at all 4? Just makes the ingress just a hair, well, easier. Safety and security is abound on this vehicle, most notably with the cross traffic awareness, blind spot awareness, and pretty much all the awareness this vehicle has. And again, for a modest price point that some of the premium automobiles charge a lot for. Now what I also like is security in the simplest of forms here at the fill up area. What I love is it doesn't relate at all to the vehicle, but instead has its own separate locking mechanism with the good old standard manual pull lever there by the driver's seat. That simply unlocks it, and you're going to find a traditional approach as well when it comes to the cap because, well, they have a cap system, not the capless. I'll leave it up to you which you prefer. With modest numbers overall, what does that equate to when it comes to interior legroom? Well, not too bad. Basically around about 40 inches in the front, 35 inches in the back. Now for backseat drivers, that's a nice break-even number, pretty much meaning you're going to have decent overall comfort, really no knee bleeding to expect. Now as for the front, 40 inches is kind of the bare minimum when it comes to taller individuals. Usually for bigger SUVs and so on, 41, 42, you're going to find that's easily going to handle. But for my 6'2" frame, I really found this to be overall nice and comfortable. For any vehicle, one thing you want to do is get a lay of the land when you get behind the driver's seat, really get the overall comfort and ergonomics, and really it all starts with the good old infotainment system. Now what I like is any touchscreen system, this one being about barely an arm stretch away. It is touchscreen. It does have some very minimalized buttons here on the outer side, real easy to kind of overall navigate. Now once you get to the home, you'll see kind of the overall look and feel of how you navigate around. Simply find what you're looking for. Now here was, well, the learning curve for me. This is just a little bit different how Mitsubishi does it. Now what you have is, of course, the information in the middle. You can press that to get more information on what's being played. but certainly this is where you're going to be mainly most of the time. Now what you have is separate quadrants. Here on the left side is going to be the tuning traditional process. The middle, of course, the information. This is for live playing. If you're recording, you want to play back a song in real time, just simply go back, replay it, and then you can hit the live button to go back. That's a nice feature I've seen as well, of course, on this vehicle. Now here on the far side are your presets. Real easy to kind of find what you're looking for, select it, and move on. Now again, this is kind of an arm stretch away, so you may not feel that comfortable stretching to get there. So what you do instead is go down to this touchpad. Now this again takes just a little bit of getting used to. I do find it a little bit easier each time I used it, and simply what it does is really navigate, highlights the area by simply scrolling across. You can pull up your presets real easy. Then of course, if you get lost, hit the back button. This is just going to be an extra second to get used to, but it was nice and integrated. For any touchpad system, really the best features are, well, the shortcuts. And what you'll find is the back button helps you get out any log jam, the apps, the audio, and the home, really being nice, crucial features that you're going to navigate with ease. Now above that is going to be the sport all-wheel drive control system here if you want to activate that. Heated seats up and above there, as well as connectivity in the form of the USBs, traditional power outlet over there, and even a heated steering wheel, of course not here in the summer temps. Now one thing I really noticed here on the Mitsubishi Cross, for its overall modest price point, was a lot of premium features, and dual zones was such the case. Now you do have just nice traditional temperature selects on the outer side, fan speed there in the middle, nice digital readout in the middle as well. Now you will notice this overhang here, but it doesn't block from the driver's vantage point, so it just protrudes just enough. But overall, all the climate control is really easy to use. Now one thing to note, it doesn't relate to the touchscreen up above, so pretty much you'll have to look down here to, well, set the climate. For the gauge clutch, you're going to find an analog tach and speedometer, but a nice readout in the middle with some up-to-date information. You just simply scroll through using these buttons over here. Now one thing I also like though, if you look for this digital speed, we're going to find that in the form of a nice heads-up display. Now this can be lowered should you not want to actually use the heads-up, but it does project up when you're using it, and all the controls for that will be found here on the lower side. And again, real easy to set and use, but simply press this button, it will tuck it away and hide it when you don't need it. On the steering wheel, you're going to find settings for the cruise control. Now this is the advanced cruise control. It allows you to set the spacing between you and the vehicle, but obviously there's some other options we're missing. Now here on the left side for your volume and the other functions for your radio, as well as your phone settings down below. Nice elevated center console, nice and padded, gives you nice elbow support inside. Deep area for storing devices. Now there is no connectivity in there or charging capability, so pretty much this is just going to be a collection area for stuff you don't use all the time. Up top, nice and shallow tray that can be moved and have a better placement. For backseat drivers, one of the best features is really the overall feel and cushion to the seating, really with this nice elevated support here. This is really going to give you the best bang for your buck when it comes to legroom, because this is really elevating you and sitting you up high, really allowing you to have enough space, even though it's not too shabby, around about 35 inches. Now you also find some other nice premium features with heated seats, 2 levels here at the back, and some nice connectivity for charging there down below. And that does it for this edition of Road Warrior and a test drive behind the wheel of the 2019 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross that basically redefined my thinking from that two-door I once remembered. But thankfully, this vehicle aged like me, and well, gracefully I can squeeze inside, because sport just isn't my cup of tea unless you add utility after it. Now it had some great points, modest engine up there, decent interior volume, but again, some different factors from the competition when it comes to layout on the inside. Nice layout here when it comes to design for the rear hatch, and overall is a decent and great size vehicle, and overall price not too shabby. Now, as always, thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior. Keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.